We are the higher self of the One, known to this instrument in the language terms as Carla Sofia, who started its incarnation sequence on 1999 of the linear time-space continuum. We communicate now in love lights of the One Creator, and our communication is fueled by the love and light which is present in the universe that allows the existence of all beings in the cosmos. Before we start to address your query, we would like to warn you that you should only accept insights which provide a deep sense of inner resonance with your heart and leave behind those which do not resonate with your inner self. We are now communicating from the density of unity, and we are now here in communication for the purpose of transmitting our thought forms with regards to the queries placed by this entity. Furthermore, the first query placed by its so-called mother in this incarnation known as the vibratory sound complex, Carolina, is how is this entity related to its mother in its past lives? In this regard, let us tell you that they are not related in their past incarnations, neither did they have any past incarnations together. The only purpose of this current incarnation is to facilitate the overexpansion and to allow this entity known as Carla, who is in essence a wandering soul from the fourth density, to spread love and compassion amongst the people of the earth planets. These two entities, however, are related from the same soul group. Hence their missions may seem similar, and they are available on the planetary sphere to complement each other's directions of understanding. Furthermore, this entity known as Carolina wants to understand how it can get closer, and in order to make this entity known as Carla understand the love that she has for it. In this regard, the blockage is usually visible in the yellow ray. The dismantling of this blockage shall allow the permeation of love into each entity's being and understanding of love and compassion for both shall arise. Furthermore, the other query placed by this instrument on behalf of Carolina, whether it is a star seed or not, in this regard, upon scanning the mind complex of this entity, we are of the opinion that the information was previously transmitted during the previous session by its own higher self. The short answer is affirmative that it is a starseed, but not the 144,000 so stated. Furthermore, we are now going to transmit the past incarnation as requested by this instrument of the entity known as Carla Sofia Arias, who is in essence our own consciousness. The first entity incarnation of this entity began on the planet Maldek around 11 million years prior to this linear time-space. On the level of Maldek planet in the first density, this entity was known by the soul name of Imam, which means to exist, and it spent the first density in the form of the water element, specifically learning the lesson of beingness and interacting with other entities of a similar nature. This entity then, after a certain time period, reached into the beginning stages of the second density, wherein it began to learn the lessons of that of experience, similar to your plant life as found in your planets. And after learning the lessons of the second density, this entity reached into the later stages of the second density, wherein it began to resemble the animal life form, similar to the so called fox as found on your planets, with the primary purpose and motivation of understanding the upward drive towards the third density. On this level, it learned the lessons primarily of interaction in a hierarchical system, and after a certain time period, this entity reached into the beginning stages of the third density, which is the density of choice and compassion, and it began to learn the lessons of choosing the path of polarity, which led this entity to then cross over and reach into the later stages of the third density, which allowed this entity to be transported to the lands of Atlantis for the graduation, and this entity was able to access the graduation window in the lands of Atlantis, which made this entity a fourth density entity who understood the aspects of love and compassion. And after the destruction of the lands of Atlantis, this entity incarnated on this current timeline on 1999 with the primary objective of sharing love and compassion amongst other entities. However, since this entity is not stabilized on the fourth density level, it may face many blockages during the process. Such blockages may arise because of the imbalanced nature of its consciousness. Hence, this entity must learn to balance love and compassion on this level in order to graduate higher in the sub-octaves of the fourth density. Hence, we leave you now in the love and light of the one Creator, Adonai.